One Bowl Mania.
Welcome to the Military Bowl, presented by Northrop Grumman as part of Capital One Bowl Mania. First of 3 bowl games today on ESPN, and even though it's really cold today, perfect landings for the skydivers. And it's a home game for the 6-6 midshipmen of Navy. The Middies here in full force at Navy Marine Corps Stadium as always, and it's just a 3-hour drive for the fans of the 6-6 Cavaliers of Virginia. So a great atmosphere here today in Annapolis. Clay Matvick, Kirk Morrison, Alex Cordry down on the field. Happy New Year. Welcome to Annapolis. And both of these teams, Kirk, can finish with winning records. Virginia hasn't figured out how to beat rival Virginia Tech. It's a 14-year losing streak now, but all in all, a pretty good second year for Bronco Mendenhall.
Well, in your second year, you go to a bowl game, and a lot of that has to do with his quarterback, Kurt Benkert, who can set some records today at UVA. But what he's been this year has been a guy who not only has taken this pro-style type of offense geared around him, he's got some playmakers, but I think it's been his leadership that's really helped his team out get to a bowl.
Navy didn't have the season it wanted to, losing 6 of its last 7, including that heartbreaking loss to Army earlier this month. But they have found a quarterback in the process.
Yeah, and that quarterback is Malcolm Perry. Here's a guy that's been a slot back, a former quarterback in high school, but it's to a point where you got to put playmakers on the field, and Malcolm Perry is that. With 2 90-plus yard runs on the season, the guy's electric. He can score, take it the distance anytime the ball's in his hands.
Alex, a win today can help both of these teams forget about those losses to their rivals.
Clay, Navy's 1-point loss to Army was devastating, but quarterback Malcolm Perry says this is a tough, resilient group that doesn't quit. They're using that loss as motivation. They've really been getting after it at practice. They've been wearing pads every day, lifting each day, and taking advantage of working out right here in Annapolis. So in front of their home crowd, Navy looks to avoid their first losing season since 2011.
All right, Alex, stay warm down there. Navy took advantage of the home field a couple of years ago, beating Pitt here in the Military Bowl. They'll try to do it again today in cold conditions, 25 degrees. Look at those flags popping. Look at how the fans are bundled up. It's 25 degrees, but with the wind, it feels like it's in the teens. These teams first met here in Annapolis in 1889. Navy leads the all-time series, which has been dormant since 1994. The conduit, the great Hall of Famer George Welsh, a coach at both of these great institutions. He would like to be in attendance today. The 84-year-old recently had hip surgery, so he's not here. We know he's watching. So hi to George. Happy New Year. And we're going to celebrate the military here today for sure. Great atmosphere here at Navy Marine Corps Stadium.
Oh, unbelievable atmosphere. Just the fans just driving up to the stadium. A lot of fun, but we're here for a football game. I can't wait to see these two teams tango here in Annapolis.
Virginia in the white uniforms. Joe Reed back to return. Navy in those sweet Blue Angels uniforms. That'll be Bennett Mooring ready to kick off. 7-6 looks a lot better than 6-7. That's what's on the line. A winning record for both of these two. As we're underway here in the Military Bowl, Joe Reed for Virginia on the return, and it's a good one. He's going to go. Joe Reed, his second kickoff return for a touchdown this year. It goes 98 yards to start the game.
You couldn't ask for a better start if you're Virginia. It's middle, return right. You start it toward the middle, and then you break right. You find out where the opening is. And like every special teams coach always says, you make one guy miss. That has to be the kicker. You make that kicker miss, and it's Reed racing to the end zone. I'm telling you, fans haven't even gotten their seats. An explosive play by Reed, starting his game off, showing the speed early on. Terrific job from Virginia getting on the board first.
And A.J. Mejia tacks on the extra point for the Hoos. Second kickoff return touchdown for Reedy at a 92-yarder against Georgia Tech earlier in the season. And what does this do for Navy? They have not even taken one snap from scrimmage, already down 7-0. They're on their heels.
Well, for Navy, it's still, look, we're still going to run our offense. Like, that's one play. We're still going to stay on script, stay with what our game plan was coming in. But you look at the other side for Virginia, this is now, look, they've had a couple days off. You know, let's be honest. The season ended a while ago. You've had bowl practices. How would you start the game? Usually it's sloppy, it's penalties. But a start like that, and you look at that sideline down there for Virginia, they're excited to be here. Plays like that now get everybody up and going. Now it's the defense's turn to return the favor, like Reed got them on the board.
And Navy, not a team that's built for a comeback.
Yeah.
And they're already down here on the first special teams play of the game. So now Brian Delaney kicks it deep. Hangs in the air, and it's a short kick. And good field position here for Navy to start, as they'll take over at their 31-yard line. Let's take a look at the impact players, Kirk, brought to us by the U.S. Navy.
Well, for Navy on offense, Craig Scott, number 82, he's going to have a big day because of Tyler Carmona, the wide receiver. He's out. Also running back Chris High, the leading rusher after Malcolm Perry, the quarterback. Those two guys have to have a big impact. And on Virginia on defense, the number 1 and number 2 tacklers in the ACC, Micah Kaiser, Quinn Blanding. This is their type of game. A rushing offense for Navy. Those are the games you can't wait to go out and make some plays.
The number 2 rushing offense in the country, second only to Army. The midshipmen will start from the 31, and Perry hands off to Chris High. He is a good-looking fullback from Oklahoma City. He's likely going to get 10 to 15 carries today, but this offense averaging 343 rushing yards per game. Virginia has seen the option before, again beating Georgia Tech earlier in the season, and they've had some time to prep for Navy. As High gets another carry stacked up after maybe a yard pickup, but it's always challenging for defenses to prepare for option football.
Well, understand this. When you're playing against an option team, it makes everyone play one-dimensional. If you're a normal defensive player in a normal pro-style offense, you're able to run around, make plays against a triple option attack like Navy. You have to play your keys and read your position, what it has to do each and every play.
On 3rd down and 2, it is High again, lowering the shoulder pads and churning for a first down to the 44-yard line.
Yeah, I talked about Chris High earlier. He's the big back, 6'2", 224, and that's what you're going to see, him just getting the ball, putting his head down to get as many yards as he can.
Not only second in the country in rushing yards, but number 1 in time of possession in the country, close to 36 minutes. You see Virginia, their run game has struggled most of the year on the option. Across the midfield stripe to the 49-yard line. John Brown. That's an 8-yard run off the pitch from Perry. And the tackle made by Quinn Blanding.
And watching Perry, how do they get to the outside? I mentioned Quinn Blanding earlier, the safety. He's going to have to run the alley. Can Malcolm Perry reach that alley and get some of those plays to the outside?
Yeah, that might be a false start. There was some movement on the left side. Looked like David Forney jumped, the left guard.
Offside. Defense, number 53, moved into the neutral zone, causing the offense to react. 5-yard penalty. Yardage gives him a first down.
Now Micah Kaiser was drawn off. The All-American from just down the road in Baltimore, wearing a cast after thumb surgery here a few weeks ago. You see Kaiser forcing that movement.
They got the wrong number on that one.
Yeah, they did.
The different player than they had.
I think it was Jordan Mack, actually, number 37. So first down for the midshipmen. The 44-yard line, Perry. And he's going to keep it this time. Malcolm Perry inside the 40-yard line. You know, Kirk, I know you are very impressed with Perry's athleticism. They think he's the most dynamic runner they've had here at Navy since Keenan Reynolds.
Yeah, you mentioned that name, just Keenan Reynolds around here at Navy. People get excited. They get pumped up because we're talking about production. And Perry, it's to a point where you got to put this guy on the field, a former slot back, put him at quarterback, and you've seen the production of this offense go up entirely in the last 4 games.
Over 1,000 yards rushing for Perry. Third start at quarterback. He's only got 2 pass attempts this year, looking to throw, but in trouble. And the Cavaliers wrap him up and throw him down near midfield. Malcolm Cook, the Sam linebacker, leading the charge, but there were several Cavaliers there, including Andrew Brown.
That's one of the things that we saw yesterday at practice with Virginia. Malcolm Cook, he's going to play sort of an outside linebacker / defensive end, but he does his job. He stays home, defeats a block, and gets the quarterback. It's a tremendous job by Malcolm Cook, not biting on the fake, staying there, beating a blocker, and going to get the quarterback.
Huge play for the defense, which knows it has to force 3rd down and longs today to have success, and they do, but it's a big run for Gargiulo. Anthony Gargiulo, the fullback, getting all of that sack yardage back and then some. That's a run of 29 and a first down to the 21-yard line.
Well, you're thinking of a situation like that, they're going to pass that, but watch the center, watch the blocking up front. They find a nice little pass, and that thing opens all the way up. Just tremendous blocking up front. Gets Gargiulo up there. Big play.
Back to Chris Hyde. And then they bounce it outside. Actually, that was Bonner. And he's going to be close to a first down for Navy. They're going to mark him out actually at the 13. So it'll be 2nd down and short. But Navy fans happy to see Gargiulo making an impact in this game. He did not play against Army because of a foot injury, but he has been explosive in recent games. High again. It's going to be close to a first down. Quinn Blanding, another tackle for Virginia. He has the most tackles in UVA history, 479 coming into this game. Not able to make the tackle before the first down. But Blanding hasn't missed a start in 4 seasons for Virginia. Playing his final game as a Cav today. 10th play of this drive for Navy, and Perry dive to the 9. Brenton Nelson, this strong safety, making that tackle. The ACC Defensive Rookie of the Year, number 28.
Yeah, the one thing when you watch the defense, they're doing a terrific job of being patient, allowing Perry to get to a point where they're forcing him to have to make a decision. That's how you stop the option attack. Force the quarterback to make a decision quicker instead of letting him allow himself to have a 2-way go.
They had the 1 pass attempt, which resulted in a sack. It's been 10 carries, no passes on this opening series for Navy. The pitch, Josh Brown takes it wide right and down to the 1-yard line. Blanding with the tackle to keep him out of the end zone. That's going to be first down and goal to go.
Yeah, just putting the ball on the perimeter that time. Just the old toss play, get a tackle out in front and another fullback as well. You just want to pick up a key block, and you had 2 of them there. Offensive lineman, you get the fullback out front. And the one thing about Navy, when you look at their running backs, they run hard. They never stop their feet. They keep the feet churning and always trying to get an extra inch, an extra yard at the end.
Zach Abey, the other quarterback for Navy, hoping to have an impact today, does, as he takes it in from 1 yard out. And Navy answers back. Zach Abey, 6'2", 212 in those goal line situations. Ken Niumatalolo likes to use his bigger quarterback. And now Morin comes on for the extra point. Bennett, of course, missed that 48-yarder against Army in the swirling snow in Philadelphia. He's had a good year And he ties this game at 7. Good response by the midshipman.
Well, the response is just be who you are. Know what your offense is all about. That's Gargiulo, the fullback, with the big play. Then you get down there by the goal line. You give it to the guy that knows what to do with it. That's AB, tying this thing up 7-7.
Is streaming live on the ESPN app. Download now and take ESPN everywhere.
Great start to this Military Bowl here today in Annapolis, presented by Northrop Grumman. Tied at 7 as you look at Bronco Mendenhall. 11 straight bowl seasons at BYU against Virginia to a bowl here in year 2. Probably ahead of schedule, as you touched on, Kirk. Program still in transition, you might say. But how about the start for his team? Joe Reed, a 98-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Navy responds with a beautiful touchdown drive of 12 plays.
Yeah, now do we see get another kickoff here?
Well, they're going to stay away from Reed. They bounce it at the 20. And as he gets there to scoop it up, Navy quickly covers him up to prevent another long return of 7 yards. Kurt Benkert bringing out the offense as we take a look at the impact players brought to us again by the U.S. Navy.
Jordan Ellis, the leading rusher. He's the guy that has to get the ball. But to me, it's about Olamide Zaccheaus, wide receiver. He's touched the ball 109 times between receptions, between running the football, and even kickoff returns. Get him the ball. And for the Navy, it's Sean Williams, Tyrus Wood. They're going to have their hands full with trying to stop Zaccheaus on offense.
Here's Jordan Ellis with the first carry of the day for Virginia. And we talked about it before, Kirk. It is a run game that has not been great. Just 99 yards per game on the ground for the Cavs. That's going to put more pressure on Benkert to really move the chains today.
Yeah, that's the one thing, the reason why people around Virginia have talked about Benkert, because he doesn't have too much of a running game, but yet it's been his arm. They've put the game pretty much in his hands, and that's the reason why they've had so much success this season, and that's why they're here at this bowl game.
Trying to throw is Benkert, and the pocket swallows him up inside the 25-yard line. And Benkert is sacked for a loss of 6 as Justin Norton, the senior outside linebacker, got in there.
Yeah, Justin Norton, watch the delayed blitz. He's out to the outside if he's covering, and then he blitzes late and just not enough time by Brandon Pertile to get out there. That's a terrific job disguising the blitz like he's not coming. Then comes late, picks up the sack.
So 3rd down and long for Virginia. Benkert flushed out of the pocket, coming to the near side, got rid of it. The throw is low to Donnie Dowling and incomplete. And Virginia is going to go 3 and out, and that has been part of the problem for the Cavaliers offense this year. Slow starts.
Slow starts and 3rd and longs. That's a situation where the sack on 2nd down pushes you back. It is a passing situation. And all Navy does is they bring their guys. They stun up front. And they force Benkert on the run. And they force an errant throw.
Good punter in Lester Coleman. Kicking for the first time, Craig Scott. From the 39, good return across the 45-yard line. And terrific field position for the Navy offense, which put together a 12-play scoring drive the last time they had it.
The Military Bowl is presented by Northrop Grumman and in part by 3M, science applied to life. And the Quicksilver Card from Capital One. Earn unlimited 1.5% cash back every purchase, everywhere.
Great pictures of George Welsh. He played quarterback here at Navy, then as a coach led Navy to 3 bowl games before becoming the winningest coach in Virginia history. Inducted in the College Football Hall of Fame in 2004. Turned 84 in August, and again, if it weren't for recent surgery on his hip, he would be here. Virginia honoring him with stickers on the back of their helmets today. Chris High with another carry for Navy. So they've got great field position out near midfield on this 2nd series for the midshipmen, but George Welsh, the conduit between these two great institutions who played almost every year from the late 70s to the early 90s, meeting for the first time here since '94. Hole up the middle, first down for High. And this running game is really starting to find its traction. That's a 7-yard pickup.
Yeah, well, the one thing you got to understand this is the Virginia defensive line. They've had a couple guys out due to injury, suspension, so they're a little short up front. So not a lot of depth there for Virginia. And right now, Navy taking full advantage of that, attacking the middle of this Virginia defense.
Yeah, depth, especially at defensive end, is tenuous today. And the ends are always important in a triple option attack when you're trying to defend it. Case in point. And Edge does a pretty good job holding its ground, getting Malcolm Perry down to the turf. Malcolm Cook from his linebacker spot comes up and helps make the stop. But two defensive ends, Juwan Moy and Stephen Wright, were suspended before the Virginia Tech game, stripped of their scholarships. So they've had to move a tight end, Richard Burney, over to defense to compensate. That's how thin they are on that side of the ball at certain positions.
Well, I think that's why you're going to see Malcolm Cook, who plays an outside linebacker position. That's why you see him more on the line of scrimmage in this game than what you've seen all season long.
Here's Perry running down the line. He'll flip it late. Good pitch. Josh Brown. Penalty flag. As Brown gets inside the 15-yard line, but there are a couple of markers down. And another flag flies late. It's a 31-yard run, but it's a possibility this is coming back.
A little extracurricular possibly at the end of that game, at the end of that play. You know, both these teams, look, they're excited to play this bowl game. You start to get a little chippy early on. Teams are having a little success, especially running the football. That's what Navy likes to do. They get out there out front and get those big offensive linemen to just stick on you. See if somebody was playing a little bit after the whistle.
There were 2 fouls by the offense. Holding, number 80 in the offense. That penalty is declined. Personal foul, number 61, correction, number 61. That penalty will be enforced 15 yards. First down.
The holding on receiver Terrence Laster. And the personal foul on Andrew Wood, the right tackle. And this is something that's been a problem this year for Navy. Too many penalties.
You know, when you get the ball on the outside, there's the holding by Laster. And then at the end of the play, you just got to be able to be smarter than that. That play's over with. And Wood just doing a little bit too much, especially the officials right there. They're going to get that one every single time. Post play, the play's already over. A little too aggressive there at the end. I get it. Hey, big man, they get all the way down there. You get excited to make a big block, a big gain. But that one there, Mr. Wood has to hold up.
Now they're trying to figure out exactly where to spot the football. But you can see that Navy's penalty yards this season ranks 26th in the country. Most teams would take that, but not Navy when they've been ranked 1 or 2 in fewest penalties for the last decade. This year they've really dropped off. And it's been mistakes like that that have hurt them in games. We saw that in the Army game, the 2 false starts on that final drive that took Mooring really out of his field goal range. And it led to a 1-point loss.
That's what Coach Niumatalolo told us. You know, you asked him, say, what's been different, you know, the second half of the season? He said, we just did things that just weren't us. We've committed penalties. We made mistakes. We didn't execute like we did in the beginning of the year. On that last play, you saw it's a great play, but when you don't execute and you make a mistake, it backs you up.
First down for Navy after the penalties, spotted at the 27-yard line. Anthony Gargiulo in the backfield. He had that big run on the opening series, and he'll get it again. Gargiulo could have gone to Penn State as a preferred walk-on. Also in offers to play college lacrosse, but chose the Naval Academy. And he has been great down the stretch. 51 carries for 303 yards and 3 touchdowns in his last 3 games coming into this one. Again, he did not play against Army. There's a glare on the field. Ball is at the 22-yard line. Perry cuts it up. Big run. Still on his feet inside the 5. Touchdown. So dynamic. Malcolm Perry got touched but not taken down, and Navy has its first lead today.
There's nothing scarier to a defensive coordinator than Malcolm Perry on the edge. And if you don't force a pitch, if you don't force him to make a decision, you allow him the two-way go, he's going to hurt you every time. Not only does he make a guy miss, but he can outrace you to the end zone. Mr. Perry getting in the end zone for the first time today.
Here comes Bennett Mooring on for the extra point. We're going to get a whistle and penalty flags.
False start. Offense, number 64. 5-yard penalty. Try will now be from the 8-yard line.
Another penalty, and that's going to back this up for Bennett Mooring. Again, the 2 false starts in that Army game made it a 48-yard field goal attempt instead of what would have been a 38-yard field goal attempt. They backed this one up 5 yards on the extra point for Bennett. The junior out of Bentonville, Arkansas. And Navy leads it 14-7. Navy doesn't need the pass. Malcolm Perry and their great fullback Anthony Gargiulo getting it done.
When you get Gargiulo on the outside, he blocks Blanding. That's easy business for Malcolm Perry.
Coming up later, 2 more bowl games on ESPN. 5:15 Eastern. Number 22 Virginia Tech squaring off against number 19 Oklahoma State in the Camping World Bowl. And then at 9 Eastern, the Valero Alamo Bowl. Bryce Love and 13th ranked Stanford battling 15th ranked TCU at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. So you Virginia fans, you can stick around for this next game coming up and do the root against. You root against those Hokies.
Yeah, you want to root against them. You want to beat them. Maybe this didn't happen this year.
Nope.
But we'll see what happened next year when those 2 teams take on each other.
So Virginia ready to get it back. Ball comes out. Olamide Zaccheaus trying to get back on it. Along the sideline, it rolls out of bounds. And Virginia's going to have it at about the 34-yard line. There's a marker down.
Kick, holding, receiving team, number 46. 10-yard penalty, first down.
And a penalty against Evan Butts on that return as Virginia, since the opening kickoff that Reed returned for a touchdown, they haven't been great.
Yeah, they're really going to have one offensive drive, and that's why this drive, to start it off, you got to get the chains moving here. You got to find a way to get the ball down the field. Already Olamide Zaccheaus with that kickoff return. They want to get the ball in his hands a little more this drive.
Jordan Ellis across the 20 to the 22. He leads the rushing attack with 800 yards rushing. Pittman making the tackle. Number 99, a little help from Jarvis Polu. You know, it's interesting. Navy now has 300-pound linemen on both sides of the ball. That wasn't the case at the Naval Academy some years back. You're seeing them at the academies now, 300-pound linemen.
That's the one thing I asked Coach Ken about. I said, where do you get these 300-pound linemen from? He said, when you join the AAC, you're now able to recruit a little bit more some of these bigger type of defensive linemen.
There's Joe Reed, another guy they want to get it to as much as possible, but he's not able to get loose on the outside just enough to pick up the first down before Juan Haley brings him down. So that's a good sign for the Cavs as they're able to move the chains for the first time.
Now that's huge for this Virginia offense because, look, you got the first down, you're moving, and you've had 3 different guys touch the football. It was Reed, Zacchaeus, and also Ellis. So now you're getting more guys involved. You got to put more pressure, I think, on this Navy defense. You got to find some time to take some shots down the field and try to back that secondary up.
There's Benkert. He's got a gun for an arm. And that is hauled in at the 33-yard line by Andre Lavroni, the big plays senior from here in Maryland. His dad, Andre, was in the Marine Corps. Brother Jonathan was a tanker in the Army, served in Iraq, so Lavroni certainly respects and appreciates the military.
Now just watch how Kurt Benkert runs this offense. Just watch how he's always in tune. He sits back, he's relaxed, calm in the pocket. But watch how he distributes the football. I like his technique, though. Watch the footwork as he delivers the football.
Deep handoff, Ellis. It's going to bring up 3rd down and short. Benkert will be at the Senior Bowl January 27th. Scouts are starting to get curious about the 6'4", 215-pound senior out of Cape Coral, Florida.
Well, yeah, I think pro-style offense. Todd McShay has him as his number 10 quarterback, but you look at what he's had to deal with here at UVA. Look, new offense. Last year's offensive line, he was running for his life, but you're starting to see him this season, and you saw him in some big games. He's got some big-time plays, has all the throws as a quarterback.
And trying to make one here, and he does. Complete to Zacchaeus. First big play for this offense into Navy territory for the first time. To the 46-yard line.
That may go on the highlight reel because you watch him, he keeps his eyes down. See, his eyes are downfield. He never looks back. He's always trying to find a way to make a play. That's a terrific job by the quarterback, keeping his eyes downfield, allowing the route to develop, and a nice little soft toss to one of his best players in Zacchaeus.
Zacchaeus needs a few catches today to break Billy McMullen's school record for catches in a season. Picks up 22. 1st and 10 across his body, and that was nearly picked off. Well defended in the secondary by Justin Norton. We'll bring up 2nd and 10. Well, the ESPN app is your best friend right now. You can stream every ESPN and ABC bowl game live. 3 bowl games today on ESPN. And the app is a great way to follow along while you're dealing with your after Christmas gift returns.
Or me in the airport waiting on a flight. That's what you do. You turn on the app, and that's how I was able to watch a lot of these bowl games.
2nd and 10. Benkert, that shows off his strong arm, but it's incomplete. Should have been caught by Lavroni.
Yeah, you mentioned it there. Lavroni's got to make that play, but you talk about from the opposite hash to the outside of the numbers, right at the sticks. This is why NFL scouts like Kurt Benkert, because of the arm strength. When I said he could make all the throws, this is what I mean. He stands in there, look at the mechanics, the feet, delivers a strike. Wide receiver's got to help his quarterback out on that one.
Incomplete. Benkert was hit, and this may be a penalty on Tyler Sales, the defensive end. He was up in the grill of Benkert, trying to convert on 3rd down. This could be roughing the passer. We'll have to see, but it appeared that Sales was the culprit.
Yeah, it could be a couple things that you can look at here. Anytime that you see a quarterback get hit on that play, where was the helmet placement? Was it after the throw? Was it before the throw? We'll get the call here.
Personal foul. Targeting. Number 91 in the defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic 1st down. Previous play is now under further review.
Tyler Sales, a terrific defensive end who has blossomed as a senior for the Naval Academy this year. Taking the plays under review.
And that, for me, is the type of play that I know it's always going to be under review, because you look at that type of play when the quarterback's throwing the ball, he's in a vulnerable position, and it's always about the helmet placement of the player. This time, Sales jumps in the air, and I think with the crown of that helmet, the forcible contact above the shoulder, head, and neck area, I think in that book, this is where targeting, this has been a point of emphasis. And by him leaving his feet, that little lunge, that little jump in the air, to me, I think when you look at the rule, I think this is target and this may hold up.
Don Capperell is our replay official.
After review, there is no foul for targeting. That will be 4th down for Virginia.
Well, they overturned it.
4th down for Navy.
Well, if they didn't go with the targeting call, but I definitely think that there could have been a helmet-to-helmet contact on the quarterback there. So to me, the targeting was initiated. And what's the difference here? I see the crown of the helmet go to the helmet of the quarterback. So to me, I think that that's targeting. Not only is it targeting, but it's also, to me, still the penalty of the helmet-to-helmet contact with the quarterback. If we're trying to keep the quarterback safe, to me, when you look at that play, that's a defenseless quarterback who just threw the football getting hit in the helmet. That's what the rule is, forcible contact above the shoulder area, the head or neck. Mr. Sells very lucky. You could tell when he was excited about that one. He's off the hook on that one.
No penalty against Navy. Sales stays in the game, and on top of that, Virginia has to punt for the 2nd time as Owen White comes on. They keep it out of the end zone. They did. A 45-yard punt, dead at the 1, as Joey Blunt gets to the football to keep it from being a touchback.
When you have this time off for bowl practice, you always say those special teams, they always usually take a hit, but this time, getting that punt right in there, that's a good job by the communication by both those guys down in there inside the 5-yard line. That's what you're always taught. One guy on the outside, you keep your heels on the goal line, and the other guy go make the play. Now you force Navy to have to go a long way to get some points.
Lester Coleman, a 44-yard punting average, 3rd best in the ACC this year, pinning Navy deep. Perry goes under center, spins and hands off to Chris High, who will give the Naval Academy some breathing room. Out to the 5-yard line, Blanding another tackle. The senior out of Virginia Beach. Boy, Navy, just like we anticipated, would control time of possession. And they have here in the 1st quarter. It's going to be close to a 1st down for High. Micah Kaiser and Blanding, the 2 anchors of that Virginia defense, combining on the stop.
High, such a bruising runner. I talked about him earlier as one of the impact players, 6 foot, 224 pounds. The senior, feet always continue to keep going. They keep moving. Just a hard guy to bring down, especially at that size.
That's the end of the 1st quarter. And after taking that opening salvo on the kickoff return by Joe Reed, all in all, a great 1st quarter for Navy, and they have the lead here at the Military Bowl, presented by Northrop Grumman on a cold, windy day in Annapolis. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to the Military Bowl, presented by Northrop Grumman as part of Capital One Bowl Mania. Clay Matvick, Kirk Morrison, Alex Cordery here in Annapolis as we get ready to start the 2nd quarter. 143 yards of offense in the first 15 minutes for Navy, all on the ground. 36 yards of offense for Virginia, movement on the right side for Navy. Andrew Wood, it appeared, jumped.
We've heard that way too often when we talk about Navy on offense.
The right tackle hasn't missed a start the last 2 seasons, but he's pointing. He's saying he was drawn off.
Offense.
Not the case.
5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Andrew Wood with a couple of penalties today. He turned down offers from the SEC to join the Naval Academy. He flinched a little bit. Oh yeah, no doubt about it.
Nice little bear call at the end, though, huh? Nah, they got you. Sorry about that, Mr. Wood. I think the officials got you. You hear these Virginia fans here. It's a nice little turnout for Virginia. Their fans getting loud here on the 3rd and 6.
Navy 2 for 2 on 3rd down. Perry fakes the pitch one way, goes the other way, and he's going to be close to the line to gain. Micah Kaiser bringing him down along with Jordan Mack. Both of those gentlemen over 100 tackles on the year, but Perry is able to move the chains. It's a 6-yard pickup. For more on Perry, let's go down to Alex.
Well, Clay, in the 2 games that Malcolm Perry has played quarterback prior to today, maybe he hasn't developed those vocal leadership skills, but from watching him, you can tell that he's a natural leader. This team has really rallied around him. The way that they respond to him, they watch him, you can tell there's that belief that he's going to take us down the field and we're going to score.
He is a bright young man, a sophomore out of Clarksville, Tennessee. Zach Abey made 9 starts at quarterback this year. Started 5 of their 6 wins, over 1,300 rushing yards, 14 touchdowns. That's a lot to put on the sideline and turn over to Perry. It's a testament to the athleticism of this young man.
Well, remember, he was a former quarterback in high school, and then being a slot back his first year and a half with Navy to a point where he was so explosive. How about just putting the ball in his hands every single play?
He pitches late. It's a good one. But that Virginia defense stringing out John Brown to the sideline. You can hear the pads popping. Brenton Nelson limits that to a 2-yard pickup for Brown, the 3rd. You can see he's limping a little bit.
Yeah, he's limping, but watch that textbook tackle by Brenton Nelson. Coming from his safety position. He goes for the outside leg. That's how you chop a guy down. You go for the outside leg, chop him down. That's a nice open field tackle by the redshirt freshman.
3rd down and 4. Timeout. Navy wants to talk about it. We'll step aside as well with 13:06 to go in the half. Navy leading by a touchdown.
New Year's Day on ESPN.
Out of the timeout. The pitch to Makakau. And he is cut down behind the line of scrimmage. 4th down. Blanding and Juan Thornhill with the tackle. A loss of 1, and Navy's going to have to punt for the first time.
Oh, man, I get excited when I see cornerbacks come up and make big-time plays, come up and make tackles, physical tackles, like Thornhill there, just playing his outside, defeats a block, and comes up, makes a big play at the line of scrimmage. Outstanding cornerback tackling there by Juan Thornhill.
Owen White from inside the 5, kicking to Daniel Ham, who calls for the fair catch at the 46-yard line. So best field position to start a drive for UVA today. The defense. Bronco Mendenhall coming up big after that timeout. And how about the hit on Brown by Nelson? The Cavs fired up after a stop.
Bowl, presented by Northrop Grumman, is brought to you by Future Tech Enterprises, delivering tomorrow's technology today. Gillette, the best a man can get. And those that live like a pro, GMC.
This game has been nicknamed the Poly Bowl by the coaches with Polynesian heritage. Navy's Ken Niumatalolo, Sean Nua, and Virginia's Robert Anai, Mark Atuaya, and Vic So'oto. Famika Anai not in those pictures, Virginia grad assistant, but definitely huge Polynesian influence. It was like old home week for those guys yesterday at the luncheon in D.C.
Yeah, a lot of respect between a lot of these coaches, growing up with each other, knowing each other. A lot, like you mentioned, Polynesian pride here at the Military Bowl.
Just 36 yards of offense for the Cavaliers. They get it to their best playmaker, Joe Reed, and he'll lunge ahead for a handful as we go down to Alex.
It's been really humbling for a lot of these coaches. Nia Matalolo, Atuaya, and Anai, they all grew up in the same small town, Laia in Hawaii, and actually Laia is home to the high school, Kahuka High School. Anai and Atuaya went there, and since 1970, close to 20 NFL players have come from there. So it might be a small town, but it does deliver some big-time talent.
That pass is incomplete. They'll bring up 3rd down and long. And, you know, that's a town of about 6,000 people in Hawaii. That's very impressive that that number of college players and professional talent has come out of that small group.
Yeah, it is. And I went to San Diego State and played with a lot of different Polynesian players from Hawaii, and just the pride that they had and the work ethic. That's the one thing I always learned. The work ethic and the pride they have in Hawaii, man. It was outstanding. It was fun to play with a lot of Polynesian players.
Virginia giving itself a hard time, trying to convert on 3rd down and long. They decide to run it with Ellis. Well short of the 1st down marker, but it's also a penalty that could go against Virginia for holding.
See where that holding call was, early indication. Looking at the official, looking at the Navy sideline. He declined it or?
Holding. Offense. 46. 10-yard penalty. Replay 3rd down.
Holding call on Evan Butts, the junior tight end. That's their 3rd penalty against the Cavaliers. And the 2nd holding call against Butts. So that backs Virginia to the 36-yard line. 3rd and 20. 5 receivers set for the 3,000-yard passer, Benkert. Setting, throwing deep, near sideline. Looking for Lavroni, and it is picked off. Intercepted by Navy. John Williams, the leader of that midshipman secondary, picks off Benkert with 11:16 to go before half.
And I mentioned him a little bit earlier in the game as one of my impact players. Junior Sean Williams just locating the football, goes up and grabs it, getting the ball back to his offense. Get excited, Navy.
Navy free safety Sean Williams with an interception. They looked at it. It's going to stand at the 14-yard line. Navy takes over.
Yeah, all I see is that when you look at the football, it has a little movement, but inconclusive as far as does his hand come away from the football. So I know people don't want to hear this. Does he survive the ground with possession of the football? I think the replay shows that it's inconclusive.
It was hard to tell.
So you got to stay with the call on the field, but just a terrific job of the safety going up, grabbing that football, high pointing it 2 hands, and bringing it in. Good job, Sean Williams.
First turnover of the game, and now the football goes back to Navy and that devastating ground attack. 154 yards all on the ground. Perry looking to pass, but now steps up. And he is stopped just short of the 20-yard line. Kaiser with the tackle.
It's been about the Navy running game, and it's getting hats on hats, meaning blockers on defenders. And that's what Navy's running attack is all about. If they can get guys in the way, it gives more room, more opportunity. If you give Malcolm Perry a 2-way go, he's going to hurt you. And that's what he does. Racing to the end zone for a touchdown. Navy's offensive line, fullback, everybody doing a terrific job blocking early in this football game.
Perry hands off to Chris High. Stacked up at the line of scrimmage and driven down. Short gain, Juan Thornhill from his cornerback spot making the tackle. Also Jordan Mack, good-looking sophomore who's coming back next year for Bronco Mendenhall's defense. In on that stop, it's going to bring up 3rd down and 3. You can see 161 total yards today for Navy, all on the ground.
For me right here, you look at Virginia defensively, how do you stop this 3rd and 3 attack. I think you got to blitz from the outside, force the quick throw.
Perry, the pitch. Bonner is brought down at the 19. Thornhill with great speed to get to Bonner. And it's 4th down.
See, I think you're going to see the hit by Thornhill. That's what everybody's going to focus on. But to me, it's Micah Kiser. It's the linebacker with the hit on Perry, forcing him to get the ball early. See, that's the kind of plays I'm talking about. It's forcing Perry to get rid of the football. Once you do that, now safeties, corners go up there and make plays. But it's getting the ball out of Perry's hands as soon as possible. That's what the linebacker, Micah Kiser, did there.
Only the 17th 3-and-out for Navy this year. That's the 2nd fewest 3-and-outs in the country, second only to Army. Daniel Ham lets it go. Again, good field position for the Cavaliers. We'll see if Virginia can start taking advantage of it. Well, Friday, we're going to have the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic from AT&T Stadium in Arlington. Sam Darnold and number 8 USC squaring off against J.T. Barrett, the number 5 Buckeyes of Ohio State. 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific on ESPN and the ESPN app. What do you think of that one?
Wow, J.T. Barrett, last collegiate game. How long has he been at Ohio State? I feel like he's been there forever.
Well, it's going to be the last one most likely for Darnold, too. Should be good. Benkert trying to get something going with this offense. Gets it in the hands of Zaccheaus. Very good receiver, also their 2nd leading rusher. And Virginia's going to try and get these chains moving on a regular basis.
Well, that's a good way in doing it, is getting the ball to Zaccheaus. Well, you got to find ways to get him the ball, get him more involved, not just throwing. That's what you see there in the fly sweep series. Get him more active.
Play fake. Benkert has time to throw, whips it to the outside. That might have been tipped at the line, incomplete. Intended for Lavroni. Jackson Pittman, the nose tackle. Again, a 300-pounder out of Tennessee. Got a hand on it.
That's the one thing I'm looking at with Benkert. The last throw, the interception throw, the ball sailed him a little bit. He's thrown a couple one-hoppers to the wide receivers. I think this weather is taking a toll right now so far. He's having a tough time.
Hard to
get a good grip of the ball.
Yeah. They run it on 3rd and 1, and Ellis is able to pick it up as he gets to the 36-yard line. You've played in cold temperatures before. I know you're a California native, but
yeah.
You played a couple of years with the Buffalo Bills. How do you deal with cold weather like this?
Well, as a defender, you always say, where is the warmest place on the field? It's the sideline. So our incentive for playing great defense was getting off the field, getting to the sideline. But if you're an offensive player, it's about getting Vaseline on the arms. It's about really getting that game going, getting a nice drive going. You get that blood flow, you feel pretty good about being out there in the cold.
Ellis again. Tyler Sales, who was called for the targeting penalty that was overturned earlier, makes the stop. So you say Vaseline on the exposed skin helps.
Yes. Well, I did wear 2 or 3 pair of socks, but you look at the sideline, that's the warmest place on a football field on a day like today. You got those heaters, you get the coats on, and that's where, hey, as a defender, hey, this is where we want to be at, fellas. We don't want to be out there on the field, so let's get off as soon as we can. But offensively, it's about maintaining those drives and keeping that adrenaline going. That's what the offensive players, that's usually how they stay warm.
Benkert bobbled it, and another poor throw out into the flat intended for Reed. And now it's going to be 3rd down and long for Virginia. And I tend to agree with you, just looking at how things are happening for Benkert when he gets that shotgun snap and when he goes up to make the throw. It does appear that that ball is not comfortable in his hands.
Yeah, you see him continue to keep licking those hands, trying to keep those hands warm. You usually see quarterbacks wear a glove in situations like this. He's going no glove on the right hand. Definitely know it's a little bit colder, harder to grip that football.
Trying to throw here. It's caught at the 30-yard line by Butts, the tight end, well short of the 1st down. Yardage needed.
I think that's 4-down territory. You make that throw there. That's the reason why you get positive yardage. You set up a nice 4th down and short. 4th and looks like about, 4? This is a 4-down territory, but that's why you make that throw to make 4th down a little bit more manageable.
Boy, Virginia needs this. They are 10 of 25 this year in fourth down situations. Need 4 yards to keep the drive alive.
I like the call here. I like the call here.
Benkert whips it to the outside, incomplete. And Navy will take over on downs. Donnie Dowling, the intended receiver. There was great pressure by that Navy defensive front on Benkert. He didn't have a lot of time.
And this has been the story for Kurt Benkert over the last 2 years. He hasn't had the cleanest pockets to throw, but this is the throw that you've got to make. Missed opportunity there for Virginia.
Love those uniforms. The midshipmen, the ones that stayed here at the academy over the holiday break.
Yeah.
Rooting on Navy, leading 14-7 and taking over. Virginia's offense has struggled today. Just 55 yards of offense. Malcolm Perry and the Mids go back to work. He keeps it, gets across the 35 to the 37-yard line. An injury report from Alex.
Running back John Brown III is out of this game with a right knee injury. A little bit ago, trainers were looking at him on the trainer's table. You could tell he was in a lot of pain. He was wincing, and just tough for the senior to come out of this bowl game, guys.
Yeah, it's too bad. The senior from Durham, North Carolina, Nelson, absolutely sawed him in half. The ACC Defensive Rookie of the Year with a huge lick. So Brown is done. Malcolm Perry gets him about a yard away from the first down line to gain. 3rd and short. So John Brown out, but they do have Perry, and they have a pretty good stable of running backs to keep this machine going.
Yeah, especially here on 3rd down. This is Chris High territory. Number 33, this is where he usually gets the ball, or Gargiulo.
It's going to be Perry keeping it himself, cuts it up, big run. Into the secondary, spins out of a tackle at the 40, and gets close to the 30-yard line of Virginia. Quinn Blanding, Jordan Mack finally bring him down, but a huge run for the sophomore quarterback. Give him 33.
Yeah, that usually works as well. Malcolm Perry is just so explosive, and here, another 3rd down, he gets everybody in front of him, gets the full back, he gets the other B back up front, and cuts back, finds a nice little area, nice little gap, and when he gets in the open field, just a tough quarterback to try to bring down.
Anthony Gargiulo comes back in. That was their 30th run today. Make it 31 carries for the midshipmen as Gargiulo gets that handoff. Eli Handback brings him down after a 2-yard pickup.
And down here, once Navy gets close to that red zone, they don't stop. They continue to run their offense. They get into almost 4-down territory here. So to me, they continue their offense regardless of where they're at on the field. Even with the positioning of how the field tightens up for them, they still run the entire gamut of their offense, especially to the outside.
On 2nd down, Chris High, another good run. Bring up 3rd and about 3. You know, Bronco Mendenhall's defense, Kirk, has had a lot of time to prep for this option attack at Navy, and Mendenhall teams over the years have done a pretty good job against the option. He is 8-2 all time in his stops at BYU and Virginia, including that last win over Georgia Tech, but they have not been able to stop Navy today.
It's hard to emulate in practice. You can have certain different players try to emulate it, but Malcolm Perry's a different runner. They've had some walk-on guys at practice try to simulate the pace of Navy, but seeing it in real life and in person, it's tough for this defense.
Malcolm Perry, I don't think he got it. It's going to bring up 4th down and short. Jordan Mack with the stop at Navy, already over 200 yards rushing.
But like I mentioned, it's still 4-down territory. You get down here at this part of the field, to me, anytime Navy gets inside the 30-yard line, it's 4-down territory. Keep the ball in your quarterback's hands.
Perry trying to draw Virginia off, and the Cavs don't budge.
We'll call timeout and talk this play over on the sideline over there.
Coach Ken wants to talk it over. Timeout Navy with 3:17 to go before half. Navy trying to get to 7 wins this year. Started the season 5-0, including a win over rival Air Force, but then things got tough for the Middies. They've lost 6 of their last 7. Nothing more disheartening, though, than that 14-13 loss to Army December 9th at snowy Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. The missed field goal as time expired by Bennett Mooring. Again, Mooring, a really good kicker. He nailed that thing in the snow with the wind. The 2 penalties, the 2 false starts that took them back out of field goal range were the difference in that game. Something we talked about with Coach Ken Niumatalolo. Slightly off this year. The team has had more turnovers, more penalties than they're used to. 2 critical penalties again on that last drive against Army were the difference in that game.
Yeah, he said pretty much that game against Army summed up the second half of their season. Mistakes in critical situations is what's cost them a couple games this year.
Trying to convert a 4th and 1.
I'm looking at the wide side of the field here with Perry keeping the football or pitching it late.
It will be Perry keeping it and sneaking through for a touchdown. Perry faking that pitch, tucking it away, and taking it in for his 2nd touchdown of the day.
I mean, that's just too easy. It's a check with me. He gets under center, scans the defense. And I talked about the wide side of the field. That's where you got more area to work with. And he had a 2-way go. He can either keep it himself if it's there or have the option to pitch it. But this time he keeps it, races to the end zone for another touchdown. Malcolm Perry.
(21-7) Midshipman. 10th and 11th rushing touchdowns of the year for Malcolm Perry. You can see why they are so excited about the young man from Clarksville, Tennessee.
These just positive plays happen when the ball's in his hands. He doesn't have too many bad plays, but it's the B-back, we call him, or the fullback, Chris Hyde, number 33. Watch the block by Hyde. He gets up and he's able to go find 28, who's been a menace all season long. But you get that big block there. Now watch 28 here, Nelson, the missed tackle. It's going to be something that you got to make those plays. Here's the redshirt freshman of the year in the ACC. You got to make those plays, but that's the elusiveness of what Perry is able to do. And that's why those midshipmen over there get a little excited. That's what Perry has brought to this offense. They started him against SMU, and it's the last 4 games they've really gotten. I think he's coming to his own within this offense. And you still got 2 more years with him. That's why you hear some of the comparisons of a former Navy quarterback in Keenan Reynolds. This is what Perry has brought, that type of play to Navy.
Now this Virginia offense, which has really struggled today, will get it back. Zacchaeus trying to spark him with a return along the sideline, and he's nudged out just close to the 40-yard line. Let's see what's coming up at the half with Adnan.
All right, Clay, thank you very much. Coming up in the Mercedes-Benz halftime report, we are here at the iconic Rose Bowl. Desmond Howard, Jonathan Vilma, and me will break down a couple of key matchups to look forward to when it comes to Georgia, Oklahoma. Also look ahead to Alabama taking on Clemson. We'll also look at the slate for the rest of today. Some good games on tap. All that more coming up at the half. Clay, Kirk, back to you guys.
All right, Adnan, thank you very much. I trust the weather is better there in Pasadena than it is.
Yeah, from looking at practice of Oklahoma and Georgia, yeah, it looks to be nice and sunny in California for those 2 teams playing down there at the Rose Bowl.
Navy calls its final time out of the half. With 3:06 to go before the break. Well, Saturday on ESPN, bowl action continues at 4 o'clock Eastern, the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl. Number 11, Washington taking on number 9, Penn State. Then at 8, number 6, Wisconsin battling 10th-ranked Miami. In the Capital One Orange Bowl, both games available on the ESPN app. course, Miami will be playing a home game, just like Navy is this year in the postseason. And both of those teams, Miami and Wisconsin, they were in the college playoff picture till the losses in the conference title games. They've had really good years.
Yeah, they had an opportunity. They had their own destiny in their own hands. You know, you win and you're in scenarios for Wisconsin and Miami. So it would be a good game with those teams. And, you know, we got word that the turnover chain will not die in 2017. The word is it will be back in 2018. So we'll see how many times will they be able to bring it out in that Orange Bowl game versus Wisconsin.
Well, the Virginia offense has really struggled. No touchdowns in the last 7 quarters. The only score today for the Cavaliers on the opening kickoff, Joe Reed ran it back 98 yards. Otherwise, this offense has been stymied. And there's another incompletion for Benkert. Great arm talent, but he hasn't been accurate today. He is now 5 of 15 passing for 41 yards.
And he knows he missed that one. That was an opportunity. That's a touchdown. And he double clutched it. He had it on the original, and you watch the double clutch. It's here, and he's got it right there. He's got to let it go, but that little bit of a double clutch, that ball's got to be out of his hands a little bit sooner. Like you mentioned, we like the arm talent. Just got to get the ball there.
9 incompletions in his last 11 attempts, plus an interception thrown. There goes Reed in motion, second down. Reed bobbled it, left it on the turf. And Navy's got it. Second Cavaliers turnover today. Tyler Sales with the recovery for the midshipman.
Tyler Sales, he's able to recover it, but it was Jarvis Polu, number 90, the one that was right there, makes a play. He gets up the field, and he almost takes the handoff, you know, from the quarterback running back exchange. 90 over the ball as well. 91 recovered, but watch 90. Nice little swim move, gets in. He attacks the football.
Reed just dropped it.
Yeah, I think Reed saw number 90. You get scared when you see a big 6'3", 292-pound man unblocked. Yeah, I don't think I want to hold on to that football either.
Plenty of time on the clock for Navy. Close to 3 minutes to work with. They don't have any timeouts left. Hey, look at this. Perry wants to throw. Sees nothing downfield. Pocket collapses. And that's going to be a sack for Andrew Brown. He's actually going to get back to the line of scrimmage, so no gain. Take away the sack. Second down and 10. Good run for Chris High right up the middle. First down and more to the 14-yard line. And if Navy can punch it in the end zone, it would be devastating for these Cavaliers.
I mean, he just runs through tacklers. It's 37 Jordan Mack. He's got him right in his sets. Just doesn't make the play there. And how many times have we seen Quinn Blanding, number 3, the safety, have to make a touchdown-saving tackle today?
Here comes Perry to the near side. It's a foot race. Did he get in? They're going to mark him out at the 1. A 14-yard run for Perry. First down, goal to go Navy.
I didn't see a foot go out. I think he extends the ball there. I think it's a judgment call by the officials there. I'm not sure that the tip of the football touched that goal line.
And the linesman was right there. They're going to review it.
Ruling on the field is that the runner was short of scoring. Previous play is no longer reviewed.
Oh, I don't know. Now, that view right there, Kirk, might mean that this is overturned. It appears that the ball crosses the plane before he's out of bounds.
Yeah, good job by our camera crew there getting that look. That's a tough look, but when you look at that one, and in the first look that we had showing that the feet were in bounds as he tightrope that sideline, but that second view, that close-up right there of the goal line, we know the feet were in bounds, and all we need is just a tip of the football, just a tip. Just to touch that goal line or go over it or just to cross it just a little bit. That should be, in my opinion, a touchdown for Navy. Just a tremendous effort by Malcolm Perry. This is, one of those situations where a quarterback finding a seam going up and extending the football, and what he did, it was two hands.
Right.
You know, that's what I'm more impressed with. It was a two-hand extension where he's able to still maintain control of the football, because we've seen that in different times where, hey, he lets that ball go and it goes out of bounds. That could be possibly a touchback and going back over to Virginia, but two hands holding it out, I think that's a touchdown.
You hear this a lot in basketball, high IQ, high basketball IQ.
Yes.
I think that applies to Malcolm Perry. He is a very intelligent football player, just a sophomore.
Yes.
But very heady. And you're right, he knew where that pylon was, and we'll see if this is overturned and 6 points for Navy. Either way, it's going to be a good position for the midshipmen.
After review, the ruling on the field stands short of the goal line.
Well, they didn't find enough upstairs to overturn it. Sure looked like they could have.
Yeah.
But it is going to be first down goal to go from the 1 for Navy.
Yeah, I think that second look, the one right there on the goal line, to me is probably the most definitive look if they want to use that, but maybe still too not inconclusive enough for the replay officials. I still think it's a touchdown. I mean, with an effort like that, I mean, I just give the touchdown to the kids and say congratulations, but
Zach Abey in at quarterback. Now we get whistles and stoppage here as the officials converge. Hasn't been a great day for the officials. I'm just going to come on out and say it.
yeah, missed targeting call a little bit earlier in the game. I don't know, some people are going to say that's a football play, but
Clock operator, the game clock will start. Am I ready for play since we started the clock at 2:02 prior to the replay?
Now, in their defense, it is bone-chilling cold down there. Probably hard to concentrate, and that wind doesn't help. It is whipping here in Annapolis. Zach Abey, he's got a touchdown run, and he's got another one on the quarterback keep. Touchdown, Navy.
it's all about the surge up front and the surge of that offensive line of Navy. Just watch how they get off the football and push the Virginia defensive line back. We talked about it earlier. The defensive line for Virginia, a little bit banged up, a couple guys out on suspension as well. But that surge by that offensive line of Navy to get underneath and get the push needed. And then you got a quarterback that's 6'2", 212. You just find a seam and fall forward. Touchdown.
Quick 4-play, 36-yard touchdown drive in a minute and 15 seconds off the turnover by Virginia. Just ahead of halftime. Just a devastating blow for the Cavaliers, who most of the day have been their own worst enemy.
Yeah, it's been missed opportunities, but turnovers, they hurt you. This has just been what Virginia's been in their second year. It's been the turnovers. It's been the inconsistent quarterback play to a little bit, but at the same time, you get to a bowl game situation here, and you got to find ways to really jumpstart your season for next year. But Virginia looking outmatched so far against this Navy attack.
Making a bowl game a big step for Bronco Mendenhall's staff this year. You know, the next step, we talked about it earlier, beat Virginia Tech, their arch rival. They've lost 14 straight in that series. But you know, a lot of people didn't predict Virginia to be here in the postseason. Still, you know, this is not what you would expect from a Bronco Mendenhall team after the weeks of preparation that they've had. They just have not looked sharp.
Yeah, you mentioned it. This team is a year ahead. I mean, no one expected them to be in a bowl game this year, but they're here. And you would think that they will have a much better performance to start the game. They did with the kickoff return, but offensively just not in sync at all today.
Bennett Morin kicks it to the 20, where it's scooped up and taken to the 42 by Zacchaeus. So Virginia will have all of its timeouts and about a minute and a half to work with. And the player down for Navy. Olbenor is down. And there's that fumble by Reed that Navy was able to turn into 7 points. Sales the recovery. That brings us to our USAA and ESPN salute to service. We highlight Sales, the senior defensive end, a terrific young man, selected to attend the Navy's nuclear power school in South Carolina. After 2 years, he's going to be assigned to a submarine base. We've seen what he has done today on the field. Pretty impressive. 4th on the team in tackles, 1st among defensive linemen. A very bright and talented midshipman. We wish him the best of luck. Some big-time future endeavors ahead of this young man.
Yeah, definitely. Going out of some submarines is his service assignment. But, you know, this is the way that you want to wrap up your senior year, not just getting your service assignment. It's also playing your last game with your teammates and ended it here on a bowl game here, playing at your own place. This is huge for him.
And he almost wasn't around to recover that fumble because we thought he was going to be ejected for targeting, but it was overturned.
Yeah, that was the play that was overturned. To me, this is one that definitely has to be looked at a little bit later on. Almost ejected from this game, and once he found out after that he was not ejected, get up and get a little chest bump.
Benkert is complete to Olamide Zaccheaus, a gain of 9 yards. This is an offense that can strike quickly. They just got to get out of their own way first. Benkert looks right, throws right, and is complete to Dowling. Gain of about 7.
When Benkert's in rhythm, when you watch what he's able to do, when the footwork is there, when he's got a clean pocket, he's got a great delivery, great throw, but you need more of that, more consistency, and being able to also change arm angles when there's defenders in his face.
Benkert in trouble, hit, gets out of a tackle and gets to the 40-yard line. There is Sales again making the stop for Navy. Now we're going to get a Virginia timeout. 2 plays ago, that completion by Benkert set a single-season record.
Virginia,
Passing Matt Schaub. 289 completions this season for Kurt. But overall, it's been a tough day for the senior from Cape Coral, Florida, and the Cavaliers offense. Virginia got out to a great start, much like Navy this year. They were 5-1 in early October. Their best start since 2007. But just like the midshipmen, they got into trouble and lost 5 of their last 6 games, including their 14th straight loss to the Hokies. With that said, ahead of schedule. In Bronco Mendenhall's tenure there, 2nd year as head coach. First bowl appearance since 2011 for the Cavs.
Yeah, a lot of these seniors here are having an opportunity to play in a bowl game. You know, this is something that Bronco Mendenhall wanted these guys to get that taste, what it feels like to accomplish getting to a bowl game, but they are far from finished here at Virginia. Just getting started, he says.
Benkert, another low throw. Navy thought that was incomplete. The officials say no. Andre Lavroni was able to haul it in near their 30-yard line. Somehow Lavroni adjusted and got his arms up underneath it to make the catch and give Virginia a first down. They're going to look at it.
Yeah, I think they just want to take a double check on that.
The previous play is now under further review.
I think he got both hands underneath. It looked a little shaky for a second, but Lavroni, I thought he secured the football all the way through to the ground. That should stand as a catch.
.48 seconds. A couple of timeouts for Virginia. Robert and Nye, the offensive coordinator. This is going to hold up.
Yeah.
And they're going to have a first down. Anai, the intellectual offensive coordinator. It's been a challenging first half. It's going to be interesting to see if they can make some adjustments at halftime and get this offense clicking in the second half.
Yeah, the other day we had a chance to talk with Coach Anai.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed, a completed catch.
And this is just, in his second year within the offense and teaching these guys. He said it's been the art of innovation, innovating new ways to spread the football around. Look, Kurt Benkert, to me, is a bridge quarterback, meaning that he's the quarterback for right now, but they're growing other guys who are going to be here next year to really turn this offense a little bit different than what you've seen this season.
Wow, Ellis had no chance. He was bulldogged at the line of scrimmage. Nizer Cromartie, the sophomore defensive end.
It's always easy to make plays when you go unblocked.
And another timeout here for Virginia.
when you're Cromartie, you go make a play. They don't block you. You make them pay for it. Make them remember your number. Number 96 coming down, making a play. It's what they've done. No one blocks you. You go make a play. He's right there. No one blocks you. You just go make a play. They always say this is what happens a lot of time in football. You always block the little one and let the big one go because you're influenced by someone running outside who is further from the play, but you let the guy closest to the actual play make it. And that time it was Cromartie. They let him go by and go make the play.
Navy's defense has struggled against the run for the most part this year, allowing an average of 4.5 yards per carry. I mean, that's getting gashed. But today, the Virginia run game has collected 10 yards. That's it. And the passing yards way under Virginia standards. Incomplete. And now it's 3rd down and long. That was intended for Dubois. Justin Norton, the senior outside linebacker, with another nice play.
And if you watch Kurt Benkert right here, he's just staring everybody down. He's not looking off and influencing the safeties and linebackers. He's staring down who he wants to throw to. And if I'm a defender, I'm just going to follow the eyes of the quarterback. Wherever he looks is where he's throwing the football.
Here comes the pressure from Navy. Benkert trying to convert a 3rd and 11. Whips it toward the end zone. Into coverage, incomplete. Tyrus Wooten. I got a hand on it. Now there's a flag, a couple of flags down.
Just as I say, he looks off the safety and comes back, but we have a couple penalties there. But good job by Benkert.
Offense, number 22. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
Penalty on Daniel Ham, Virginia running back. That's a holding call, so 4th down. And I don't think this is going to be field goal range for Mejia. Well, they are. They're going to walk out A.J. Mejia to try it instead of leaving Benkert out there. It's going to be a 48-yard attempt for Mejia. His long is 38 this year. No chance. Mejia doesn't have a real strong leg anyway, but in these temperatures, kicking really is difficult.
Well, that football's like a brick right now. It is a hard ball to kick, and you can see it there. That ball never had a chance. I mean, it was about a good 15 yards short of the crossbar. I think Mejia is a guy who we saw yesterday. He's actually got a nice mustache to add to it, but in that situation, I think the temperature is what made this football really got no elevation, short.
Maybe he'll take a knee. 266 yards of offense for the midshipmen in the first half. Malcolm Perry, as advertised, terrific in his 3rd start at quarterback. 14 carries, 109 yards, a couple of touchdowns. Zach Abey, the backup quarterback today, a couple of goal line touchdowns. And it's a 28-7 lead. Navy at the half. Alex. Apparently Alex doesn't have the coach just yet. But what an impressive first half for the midshipmen, taking advantage of a couple of turnovers as well by Virginia.
Well, it was really about what they did after the opening kickoff. They let Virginia go down. They scored a touchdown, kickoff return for a touchdown. But I thought Navy settled in. They ran their game plan. They ran their offense. And now they're up 28-7, like you mentioned, converting on a couple of those turnovers.
.79 total yards for the Cavaliers, 69 through the air, 10 on the ground. Coach snuck away from us, so we're going to go to break. 28-7 at the half. Stay tuned. After the break, the Mercedes-Benz halftime report with Adnan.
Bowl mania.
Virginia defense, and you can hear the pads popping. And it is picked off by Navy. It's going to be Perry keeping it himself, cuts it up, big run. It will be Perry keeping it and sneaking through for a touchdown. Welcome back to the Military Bowl, presented by Northrop Grumman as part of Capital One Bowl Mania. Navy with a home field advantage today, taking advantage of it in the first half, leading 28-7. Navy doing what they do. 0 passes in that first half. 264 rushing yards, 4 quarterback touchdown runs. Meanwhile, Virginia Kirk looked very uncomfortable in that first half. The environment seems to be playing havoc with this team.
Yeah, it's just been Virginia outside of the opening kickoff. It really looked overmatched. The intensity brought here today by Navy, just didn't see it happening.
And Navy will start with the football here in the second half. The return out close to the 30-yard line by Scott. The kickoff return, the only real highlight for the Cavaliers, Kirk, in that first half.
Yeah, that's been the only bright spot. It was the kickoff, and Jordan Reed finds a way to get the middle return. Got the outside blocking, but watch the kicker. You got to get the football position and make a play. I'm not so sure that that's a football position by the kicker. And Reed makes a nice little move and gets to the outside, but it's really been the Malcolm Perry show. And terrific blocking by his fullbacks and just giving enough of a crease for Perry to make the play.
This offense will go back to work. The midshipman will get it in the hands of Daryl Bonner. Very impressed with Malcolm Perry, the quarterback, in that first half. 14 carries, 109 yards, a couple of touchdowns, and how he has handled the option situations, just like that last one we saw. Very good at deceiving the Cavaliers defense.
I mean, he's taking full control of this offense now. You start to look at what Perry has been over the last couple weeks. They've been trying to find more and more offense and find the execution now. I really believe that Perry's coming to his own. This is his offense now.
Perry keeps it. Clay Matvick, Kirk Morrison, Alex Cordry here in Annapolis, and we go to Alex, who just talked with Coach Kemp.
Yes, Clay. Well, after UVA started the game with a kickoff return for a touchdown, Coach Nia Matalolo told his team this game's far from over. He's very pleased with the way that they responded to score 28 unanswered points, but he says they got to keep it going in the second half and keep playing physical.
They have dominated up front, both sides of the ball.
Well, Alex talked about it. She talked about it earlier. Physical. That's what they wanted to be, the more physical football team today, and they've shown it so far.
There's Chris High. First down. Breaks a tackle and gets inside the 45 of Virginia. Chris Peace was able to finally bring him down, but it's a 15-yard gain for Chris High.
He's one of the guys I mentioned as impact football players. Impact players in this game. Chris High, I mentioned, 6 foot, 224 pound, the B-back. And when you play against Navy, you play against Naval Academy teams, this is what it's all about. It's the effort. It's not going down to the ground with the first attempt. It's keeping those legs moving, keeping those legs churning. That's what Chris High did in that last run.
Chris High over 1,000 yards rushing the last couple of years. He's going to be a second lieutenant in the Marine Corps. Here's Perry running down the line. Decides not to pitch that time, and handback will bring him down after about a 1-yard gain. Ken Niumatalolo, in his 10th year as head coach at Navy, was a candidate to replace Bronco Mendenhall at BYU a couple of years ago. They have great respect for each other, and that's not a good sign for Navy as Perry limps over to the sideline.
Yeah, that's not good. He's been the playmaker. He goes to the sideline, but remember, they still have the backup quarterback who was the original starter, Zach Abey. So they have a quarterback that has got experience. He's thrown the football 71 times this year. He's also ran it for over 1,000 yards. So to have your backup come in, nothing really drops off as much as you would think.
Anthony Gargiulo. Not much. Third down and long. Let's go back to the play that shook up Malcolm Perry.
Yeah, it was just 58. Eli Handback goes down the line of scrimmage. He makes the play, but you see him twist Perry at the end. I think that looks like that left ankle, left leg gets a little caught in the turf. It's a lower leg injury for sure. We'll get an update on that.
And now Zach Abey, the bigger of the two quarterbacks that Navy has used this year, 6'2", 212 pounds, running the offense. But even that girth can't get away from Andrew Brown. Drop for a loss, 4th down.
Andrew Brown, one of those Senior Bowl invitees on this Virginia team, and this is the reason why he'll be playing in that Senior Bowl game. A lot of NFL scouts like Andrew Brown, a 6'4", 285-pound senior, and he just reads the get off. He watches that snap, and once that snap happens, he gets off. He's in the backfield. It's a nice jump on the ball.
So Owen White will come on for his 3rd punt. Daniel Ham stand back inside the 10 to return. Calls for the fair catch, and he dives ahead. Ball comes out. Navy's got it. Another turnover for Virginia. This one on special teams. Daniel Ham called for the fair catch, but he never caught it. And Elon Nash with the recovery for the Naval Academy.
That's one of those situations where you're running up to the football, and if you're not able to get 2 feet down and catch that ball, might as well just let it drop and let it, hopefully it doesn't roll inside the 10 or the 5-yard line. That time I think he probably could have let that one go, just not in the right position to field that punt.
Mitty's given a gift. Abey on the keeper. Now, I know it's a small sample size, Kirk, here, but the last few plays for Navy, you see a difference just without Perry in there. Zach Abey is a veteran, capable quarterback, but they've lost some explosiveness without Malcolm Perry.
Well, they lost the explosive guy in Perry. Like I mentioned earlier, he's had 2 plays over 90-plus yards. He's a touchdown anytime that he has the ball in his hands. He can take it the distance. I think Abey, a little bit different, more of a guy who has the ability, but not that home run ability like Perry.
Abey pitches it out to Josh Brown, one of the Browns out of that backfield for the Naval Academy. John Brown is out of this game with a leg injury. He was hurt in the first half. So Navy gets it inside the 5, 3rd down. Quinn Blanding on that last tackle for Virginia.
See, the play calling is a little bit different. With Malcolm Perry in, you can kind of run plays to the outside. I think with Abey, a little bit different. You got to have more blockers in front of him. He's more of an off-tackle type runner, where I think when you put Malcolm Perry out there, he's a guy that can do those one-block quarterback sweeps.
Abey, his 3rd touchdown run of the day. And look at Ken Niumatalolo. Pumped up on that Navy sideline.
You talk about physical blocking at the point of attack, at the line of scrimmage. Watch Micah Kiser, but watch the fullback coming right at him, 33, Chris Hyde. And that's a collision, trust me, in my day as a linebacker, those are the ones that you want to have. And boom, that's a quarterback in Navy running over one of the best linebackers, I think, in the country.
Bennett Mooring, yet another extra point. And Navy in complete command of this football game, 35-7. They capitalize on another Cavaliers turnover, their 3rd of the game. Navy expanding its lead to 35-7, 9:46 to go here, 3rd quarter. 10th anniversary of the Military Bowl presented by Northrop Grumman. We've had a great few days here in Annapolis. These teams have spent their weeks prepping and staying in the D.C. area, and the team that has come out ready to play today is large and in charge, the Naval Academy. Meanwhile, Virginia has really struggled.
And Navy spent the last 2 weeks in pads. They wanted to get the physical nature of the game back within their football team, and definitely the more physical team today has been Navy.
Zacchaeus on the return. Some bad news, though, for Navy as we go to Alex.
Yes, really disappointing news for Navy. Quarterback Malcolm Perry is out of this game with a right foot injury. He's been on the trainer's table. They put him in a boot. Actually, Ken, Coach Ken and several of the players have come over, given hugs, and he's clearly visibly upset, crying on the trainer's table.
Yeah, you can definitely see that. If you saw that boot on, what a terrific performance by Malcolm Perry. We just hope it's not something that's going to linger in the next season.
They've got a capable quarterback in Zach Abey, who should be able to get them to the finish line today. Abey, the junior who made 9 starts prior to Malcolm Perry taking over the job. After that incompletion, Benkert going to work, throws to the outside, and yet another incompletion as this offense still can't get on track as we go back to Alex.
Clay Kirk, Zach Abey is all about toughness. Actually, in high school, he was a rugby player, a wrestler. So as we've even seen in this game, he will have a huge role for this offense next year. And you wonder what Navy will choose to do, but he's very dynamic and athletic.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Ellis at the catch and gets close to the 45-yard line for the Cavaliers. Zach Abey, over 1,300 rushing yards, 14 touchdowns, and 800 passing yards, 7 touchdowns coming into the game. He's been effective in the way that they planned to use him, and that was in short yardage and goal line. He's got 3 rushing touchdowns today. Now maybe having to do a little bit more in the offense, but with the big lead, he's in really good shape. As Virginia gets across the midfield line, that's a catch by Lavroni. It'll bring up 2nd down.
So you've talked about Abey and what he presents to the offense. Remember, he won the job in training camp. He was the starter, played well at the end of last year in 2016, started the season off, but it was to a point where Navy wanted to do something offensively different, and that's when you enter Malcolm Perry.
Benkert for Lavroni, incomplete. Lavroni wants the flag. Eli Merchant on the coverage, and Lavroni pleading his case. He's falling on deaf ears, and I didn't see a penalty there.
Yeah, I didn't see one either. And how many times have we seen Benkert go up top and just be a step off, of the throw, just of the outstretched arms, just not there. He's been missing on those deep passes. Like I said, we know about the arm strength. The accuracy has definitely not been on his side today.
Jordan Ellis, and he's got enough for the 1st down. It's the Virginia Cavaliers, which have struggled from the outset, pick up a 7th 1st down on the day. But Benkert, who is the nucleus of this offense, 97 yards. He has thrown the interception, has looked out of sync. This offense seemingly struggling with the cold temperatures today as well. Ellis again, no room on that left side. Coming up later, 2 more bowl games on ESPN at 5:15. Number 22, Virginia Tech, taking on Oklahoma State in the Camping World Bowl. And then at 9, the Valero Alamo Bowl. Bryce Love, always fun to watch. He'll try to lead Stanford past TCU in San Antonio. Benkert swirls out of the pocket inside the 40, and he'll walk out of bounds at about the 37-yard line. Kevin McCoy was in pursuit.
With Benkert, this is a situation where right now, look, your team's down 35-7. So you need points here. You need to make good decisions with the football, but be smart about it. Don't try to force it into tight windows.
He looks right. Finds a man wide open, and it's Zaccheaus. But he can't make the catch. You can't be more open than that. And now it's 4th down and 4.
And this has been the Achilles heel the entire season, or at least the second half of the season for Virginia. I mean, that's a wide open wide receiver in Zaccheaus who doesn't come down with the football. That's not on the quarterback, that's on the receiver. And sometimes you talk about the quarterback struggling. If you're a wide receiver, you got to help him out.
4 drops today by the Virginia receivers. Benkert off his back foot, got it to Zaccheaus. He's going to make a move for the 1st down, and he almost stepped out of a tackle at the 27. Brandon Jones was able to bring him down, but Zacchaeus making amends for that last play, picks it up, a gain of 14.
Yeah, catches the ball with his hands and secures the ball and then goes up, makes a play. We know what he can do when the ball gets in his hands. He just got to catch it first. And once he catches it, we know that he can make some things happen. We need a little bit more of that in the second half for Virginia.
Pumping Benkert. Rifles a shot back for Zacchaeus over the middle. Nowhere close, incomplete. Zacchaeus' last catch setting a single season reception record for the Cavaliers, 84 on the year. That's a highlight, but otherwise not a great day for him in this Virginia offense, of course.
Yeah, just I always look at the quarterback's footwork. That's the one thing I like to look at because the feet work can tell you where the pass is going. And the footwork is there, it just had that right hip a little bit open. And that's why the ball sailed on him.
Donnie Dowling, a gain of 10. That will move the chains as he gets out at the 14. Virginia absolutely has to have points on this series.
Yeah, no question.
Touchdown variety.
They need points. They need a touchdown. They've had opportunities, but it's been penalties. It's been fumbles, interceptions. They just have not executed when they got on this side of the 50.
Now the officials discussing something here with 6:43 to go in the third. This has been the longest drive of the day for Virginia. 13th play coming up.
The most impressive drive. A lot of toughness being shown by the quarterback on that fourth down situation, kind of evading the rush. And Zacchaeus finding a little opportunity to make a play.
Dead ball, personal foul, number 8 of the offense. We're going to measure to see whether or not the first down was made.
Hasise Dubois with that personal foul for Virginia. They're going to have a measurement here.
I didn't see when that flag was thrown.
They gave them the first down, correct?
Yeah, they gave them the first down.
So the call on the field was a first down, Virginia.
So if they get the first down and you come back and tackle on the 15.
The guy's in our way.
The result of the play was a first down. We'll now enforce the 15-yard penalty against the offense. It will be 1st and 10.
Okay, so they confirm the first down with the measurement. And now they'll walk off the penalty against Hasise Dubois, the sophomore out of Irvington, New Jersey. A personal foul
Ruling
called
on the
against the
field
Cavs.
was a first down. The previous play is now under further review.
And now they're going to review it.
Well, if you're trying to figure out what the penalty was on, here's Dubois who...
Well, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, that's a penalty.
They're going to review the mark, though, that they just measured.
Okay, they'll review the mark, but going back to the personal foul play right there, you see the restraint by Navy. That to me, it just shows you the professionalism of where Navy is, because that's a play in which, you know, a player may react. They don't react there. When you look at it, I mean, that's going to be a judgment call with the officials. We can't look at where the foot goes out of bounds. I think you're trying to figure out where is the ball at the point when the foot does go out of bounds.
And from that angle, it's hard to tell.
It's hard to tell.
You know, if his feet were out of bounds, if one foot was out of bounds ahead of the line to gain, which is the 14-yard line.
Here's another look at it.
This might be better. He's out. Now, where's the football?
Is
That's
that
the
conclusive?
question.
Right. Is that a good enough angle?
It's got to be indisputable video evidence to overturn the call on the field, which
Correct.
was called a first down.
Yes.
Plus, the measurement confirmed that. It's going to be hard to overturn it with this look.
Yeah, I think so. And the more and more I keep looking at it, because you really got to piece both looks together. You know what I mean? You look at the right foot's out of bounds, on that step. So that tells me that he's short. The ball's right around, that looks like the 16-yard line, 16 and a half. Oh, about the 15-and-a-half-yard line, it looks like, yeah. So this is going to be a tough one for the officials because now they have to.
If Don Capperell can put the pieces together upstairs, I think you're right. He was out of bounds before the line, but it is going to be his decision alone upstairs.
That's what I've been doing the last couple days. You know, Christmas, the kids putting toys together. He's got to put this replay together.
After review, the runner was out of bounds at the 16-yard line, short of the line to gain. We'll then enforce the dead ball
15-yard
personal foul, so it'll be 3rd down and 17 at the 31-yard line.
There you go. It's been that kind of day for Virginia.
Yeah, he had to piece it all together, but that far look that we had, you saw the right foot go out of bounds where the football was at. So it was right there at the 16-yard line, but then there's the personal foul that I mentioned by Dubois, the hit, the 15 yards added on. Our official falls down. That's when you get a roar from the crowd there.
Well, most of the people standing up cheering are Cavaliers fans. They haven't had much to cheer about today. The official goes down to his keister and they get up on their feet. And now Donnie Dowling goes in motion here on 3rd down and a mile. They get it to Ellis in the flat, and Navy was ready for it. 4th down.
Another tackle by Sean Williams, number 6. I mentioned impact players again before the game started. Not only has Williams made a tackle, interceptions as well. That's Kalen Williams there, but these safeties right now and cornerbacks have been playing outstanding. They've limited these wide receivers for Virginia. They just haven't given them any room, and Benkert just had a tough day.
Lester Coleman to punt. And can they keep it out of the end zone? Yes. Well done by the punt team of Virginia. Joey Blunt keeping it out of the end zone. Or did they? It is going to be a touchback. The look as we go to break. They may review this.
Watch me do this since 20.
Navy is winning the battle on the field. They're winning the battle against the environment today here at the Military Bowl, presented by Northrop Grumman. 25 degrees, winds close to 10 miles per hour, so the wind chill at 16. Let's go to Alex.
Clay, well, things down here on the sideline aren't making anything warmer for UVA. Take a look at one of their heaters. It's actually, looks like it's broken down. They've been working on it for the last 20 minutes here, trying to get it back up and running. It's actually been smoking at one point. Fans were irritated, the bench was irritated, so some frustration down here as they're having some mechanical difficulties.
Maybe it's a good thing it's smoking. You know it's warm then.
That's supposed to be the warmest place on the field is the sideline. So when I see that thing over there smoking, that's not a good sign at all. You got to find those coats. Keep the head warm as well. Go find you a couple parkas.
They've got one heater that's still working, and you can see they've got about 5 or 6 guys huddled around it.
Embrace the elements is what they always say.
It's been a brutal day for Virginia. They've committed 3 turnovers. The offense has sputtered. Navy's got it back. Zach Abey in at quarterback, and he takes off across midfield and down around the 40-yard line of Virginia. Malcolm Perry out of this game with a leg injury. Zach Abey, a very capable quarterback, leading this offense now for Navy.
Yeah, he's capable. But if that's Perry, that's a touchdown. But Abey, like you mentioned, he's to be a backup, come in, and this offense doesn't change much. I think he's the better passer when you think about Perry versus Abey. But remember, he's still a 1,300-yard rusher. He can still get the job done, but this is what he's best at, throwing the football.
Looking for a receiver downfield, and it's incomplete. Intended for Brandon Cologne, and you mentioned it before, Kirk, with Tyler Carmona out. He's their top remaining receiver. Can't make the catch there. So it'll be 3rd down, or 2nd down and 10.
But they take a shot. And that's what AB's good at. Throwing the football, 800 yards passing like you mentioned earlier. They can take more shots, especially when they get on this side of the 50-yard line.
First pass attempt of the day for Navy. The run game has been more than adequate. They'll go back to the run with AB. And he's tackled near the 35-yard line. Micah Kiser in on that stop. The All-American, great player and student, won the academic Heisman, the Campbell Trophy as it's called. Got his degree in foreign affairs, working on a master's in education. His last game as a Cavalier. Tell me that guy won't be missed.
No, he'll be missed, but you can still probably see him playing on Sundays somewhere. He's that type of player. A guy that's going to be able to pick up a defense fairly quickly in the National Football League, and won't be surprised if we see a lot more of him in the NFL on Sundays.
AB with the handoff to Chris High. Kiser's going to go down as one of the all-time greats, not just on the field, but in the classroom at Virginia. So you see the grade point average for his undergrad, and now the Masters. He's got a 4.0 currently. And a big scholarship from the National Football Foundation. We wish him the best of luck in his future endeavors. Whatever that may be, he's got a bright future. Bright young man.
You look at the production of Kiser in college, you know, a 3-year leader in tackles in the ACC per game. The likes of Luke Kuechly, that's the kind of company that he's keeping as far as his production in the conference.
Navy calls a timeout. Brian Urlacher, who played the Lobo back position under Bronco Mendenhall when he was the defensive coordinator at New Mexico. You can see the guys pictured there the night that Micah Kiser won the Campbell Trophy.
I talked to Brian Urlacher this week about Bronco Mendenhall and Kiser. He said Kiser's going to be a good football player, but I said, you got to give me a story on, you know, Coach Mendenhall. He told me that when they first got together, it was Bronco's first defensive coordinator job at New Mexico. And here's Brian Urlacher, who's went on to be an all-pro linebacker in the NFL, but he was a safety for Bronco Mendenhall. And he said during the offseason when they did those morning runs, that conditioning, that Bronco was the first guy out there running with the players and beating the players. That's been what he's brought to Virginia so far. And when you got players like Micah Kiser, who kind of embrace that kind of toughness on the field and off the field, that's the reason why they've changed things around here at UVA so quickly and into a ball game in the 2nd year.
Kiser's been very active again today. He's had to be against this run attack of Navy. AB, the pitch out to Chris High. He's got the first down, and the midshipman will stay on the field. Micah Kiser, even though this is likely going to be a losing effort for the Cavaliers, barring some great comeback, he always gives max effort.
Yeah, always max effort. He's always around the football. We mentioned one of the leading tacklers in the country, led the ACC in tackles the last 2 seasons, but he's also a Senior Bowl invitee, so he'll be able to take his talents to the Senior Bowl in front of those scouts and coaches. And like I mentioned, he'll be playing on Sundays somewhere. I know that's for sure.
I think a lot of people would agree with you. Chris High picks up about 6 on first down. Micah Kiser, 10 tackles today. Quinn Blanding has had a bunch of tackles this year and also in his career. Those 2 guys are going to be going to the Senior Bowl along with Ben Curtin Brown.
It's a bowl game that I played in, the Senior Bowl. It's a great opportunity in front of college scouts, the NFL scouts who've been looking at college players, but the head coaches, the NFL scouts, general managers, everybody's there. It's a great first impression for some of these players.
There goes AB again. That's his 4th touchdown today. You know, that was Malcolm Perry-esque. Who says that that guy doesn't have some mobility too?
Are you saying there's still competition at the quarterback at Navy?
Going into the final quarter of the year, it's still wide open.
I mean, we came into this game talking about Malcolm Perry, but it's been Zach Abey that has really taken over today. I mean, he's just had a wide open creases to run, and like I said, he's a different runner than Malcolm Perry. More of a guy that takes his time, more patient, but when he finds an alley, he goes.
Navy turning this into a rout, 42-7 at the Military Bowl.
The Military Bowl, presented by Northrop Grumman, is brought to you by 3M, science applied to life, and the Capital One Venture Card. Earn unlimited double miles on every purchase every day. What's in your wallet?
Navy with a home game for this bowl season, but you know, they had a lot of fun this week. Went to Famous Ben's Chili Bowl in Washington, D.C. Got that classic chili dog, I'm sure. Virginia, it looks like today that they ate about 10 chili dogs each before taking the field because they have been sluggish and have made a lot of mistakes. They'll have it at the 22-yard line to start this drive, down 42-7. Tomorrow on ESPN, Capital One Bowl Mania continuing. 2 more games. 1 Eastern, it's the Belk Bowl. Wake Forest, Texas A&M. And then at 4:30, Kentucky battling number 21 Northwestern in the Franklin American Mortgage City Music City Bowl. Both games available on the ESPN app. Northwestern a chance to win 10 games for the second time in 4 years.
Yeah, Wake Forest with John Walford, had a chance to see him earlier this year. Another bowl game for Wake Forest and a new look Texas A&M with Jimbo Fisher now at the head coach of Texas A&M.
Zacchaeus with the first down reception for Virginia, which has about 137 yards of total offense today. First down's been hard to come by.
And you start to look at Virginia, they've got 1 more quarter left in 2017, but the competition is already starting for next year.
Incomplete. Dowling couldn't bring it in. We've seen a couple of plays like that where the receivers have had the ball right on their hands and couldn't bring it in. That ball is hard as a rock. Still does need to be caught, and especially when Benkert needs a little lift. You got to help your QB out.
Yeah, they haven't helped him out enough today, and it's been penalties, you know, mistakes, personal fouls.
Receiver makes that catch. It's Butts, the tight end, out at the 37-yard line.
We've seen breakdowns in the offensive line, letting guys run free, and it's been tough. Tough sledding today. I think Navy, to their credit, has been the more physical team, and to me, they've played more relentless.
They've handled this weather better, no doubt. Been tougher.
Yeah, I think they expected that, though. They knew that. They wanted to be the tougher team, and they've proved it through almost 3 quarters so far.
Final 40 seconds of the 3rd quarter. Benkert looking left, in trouble, spins out of the pocket, gets away from the pursuit, now changing direction, still in trouble, and he'll hoist it to the Navy sideline. 4th down. Tyler Sales, Justin Norton nearly got to him for the sack. The Virginia punt unit will come back out on the field.
Yeah, I think you just named the entire defensive line because they all deserve credit. Just watch the effort. Just watch all the blue shirts, the blue jerseys. Just relentless. Sales there at the end. We mentioned him earlier. Just a fanatical effort of Navy.
And Navy defense flying around like the Blue Angels. Those Blue Angels uniforms.
Rolling on the field as the punter's knee was on the ground.
Oh boy.
He possessed the backward snap.
This could be another huge special teams gaffe for the Cavaliers. Did Lester Coleman, the punter, take a knee when he tried to field the snap? That's what the officials are claiming, and that they're going to look at on review.
Yeah, they're going to probably take a review on that one. We know in the college game, when a knee goes down, which to me, I believe his knee goes down to field that play, that is now, the ball is now blown dead. And you watch it here. Watch the left knee. Watch the left knee. It's down. Oof. And then the ball's right there. Looks like about the 24-yard line. An unforced error. And this is what's been the story of the game for Virginia. It's been turnovers, mistakes, and that one right there was an unforced error. Ball over to Navy.
Navy takes over at the 23. Now pounded inside the 20 with Chris High.
That may be the last play of the quarter there. Is Navy starting to sense it now that they've really tried to break the will of this Virginia football team.
They're good at taking the air out of the ball. And they will do that to start the fourth quarter as we flip the field. Navy in charge, 42-7. You take away that kickoff return for a touchdown that started this game by Joe Reed.
Yeah.
Virginia has been a no-show in this one.
42 unanswered points for Navy. That's the game.
Allstate is proud to be a part of the team that comes together to do good by contributing to participating universities' general scholarship funds. For each field goal and extra point kick to date, Allstate has contributed millions in scholarship funds. We start the fourth quarter, 42-7. Midshipman. Virginia, 3 turnovers, 2 turnovers on downs today. And Navy in the red zone again. Zach Abey running down the line, cuts it up on the far hash, and we'll get to the 15-yard line.
You know, the one thing watching Abey when he runs, a little bit different. We've been watching Malcolm Perry throughout the game, but Abey comes in, and I love the way that he bellies back just a little bit. He attacks the line of scrimmage, but he gives just a slight bit of ground to allow the blocks to develop, to get the fullback and the backs out in front to secure their blocks. And then that's when he puts the foot in the ground and goes north and south. A different type of running style, but still very effective.
Abey will be back next year. Malcolm Perry will be a junior next year. The quarterback position, Kirk, is going to be in great shape in 2018 for Coach Kent. It's going to be a fourth and very short for Navy, right in their wheelhouse.
Yeah, but I think still the biggest thing for Navy is they've lost to Army the last 2 years. And the quarterback situation has, you know, kind of been up and down a little bit. Can they secure one guy to just be that guy? We thought it would be Perry. For the most part, he gets injured today. Now, Abey's showing people why he was a starter in the beginning of the season.
And Chris High gets very close to the first down yardage needed. Looks like they marked him short.
Yeah, I'm looking at that far side official. He came in right inside of that marker.
I'm trying to get a measurement.
We know that yellow line that everyone sees is not inaccurate. It's what we
It's
interpret.
pretty close.
It's pretty close, but
it's not official.
I used to always think that guys were stepping on the line, messing it up. When I was a player, I was like, oh, I'm stepping on the line. We can watch out, but it's a little bit different here. But let's see what they got.
By the nose of the football. First down, Navy.
No index card needed there, right?
Nope. That's right.
They got the first down there. Terrific job. This is Navy's offense. They continue to just grind you out. 3 yards on first, 3 yards on second. If you don't get it on third, you feel like you got to just enough where you can lean forward and get the first down. And that's what High does, the big 6 foot, 224-pound running back.
Navy now 3 for 3 on fourth down. Getting back to Malcolm Perry in that Army game, he had 250 on 30 carries. I thought Perry was really good against the Cadets, as Abey looks really good on this run and gets to the 4-yard line. He had that 68-yard touchdown run in the snow and the ice in Philadelphia. Malcolm Perry was really good in that game. It's just some mistakes like you talked about led to them not winning it. They had a chance.
Well, they had the chance. It was just the opportunity at the end, the 2 false starts, forcing that field goal attempt to be a little bit further than it should have been. And they probably win that game against Army. But AB is showing you right now why he was the starter to start the season.
They'll take it down to the 1.
And I think you start to look at the consistency just a couple seasons ago that Keenan Reynolds, the quarterback here, before, number 19, the one that everybody remembered, a 4-year starter at quarterback. And I think that's what Coach Ken Niumatalolo has kind of been looking for. Who could be that next, I think, Keenan Reynolds? It's a tough job, but the consistency that Reynolds presented every single year, you knew what you're going to get. And I think right now, when you look at the Navy offense, they've got 2 viable quarterbacks right now that play at a really high clip. They give you a little bit something different.
On their 62nd run of the day, they are held out of the end zone as Josh Brown is cut down behind the line of scrimmage. Juan Thornhill has made a few big plays today. There's one to keep Brown out of the end zone.
I love the way these safeties have attacked. You got to go run down those plays to the outside, to the alley. The only thing is that the quarterbacks, they give you the illusion like the ball's going outside, and that's where AB and Perry have cut the ball back for touchdowns.
Chris High did not get in. It'll be 3rd down and goal to go.
Can't just talk about his name, Quinn Blanding, number 3. I mean, this is a hard-hitting safety, and you're talking about standing up the big back for Navy. There he is flexing his muscle. He realizes that that's a big-time play when you stop a big-time back like that.
Still playing hard. AB, the keeper, got in, touchdown. On the 9th play of the drive, the 5th touchdown today for Zach Abey, the quarterback who didn't even start this game for the midshipmen.
You mentioned didn't start the game, but puts in a little bit of a spin cycle there. Initially denied the end zone, but Blanding, no wrap, head down, and AB with a nice little spin move for another touchdown. Touchdown number 5.
Morin coming on for the extra point attempt. 49-7. Navy now over 400 yards of offense. Virginia has looked bad. Back here in Annapolis, Navy has dominated, I would say, from the opening kickoff, but that's not true.
Well, after the opening kickoff,
he brought it back 98 yards for a touchdown for Virginia, but ever since that play, it's been all Navy.
49 unanswered points.
Reed's going to get to the 20 this time. That's where he's stacked up, so no return for Joe Reed here in the 4th quarter. Let's take a look at our aerial play of the game, brought to you by Northrop Grumman.
And it's one of my impact players. I talked about it earlier. Sean Williams is going to have a big day. And there he is, going up, high pointing the football, getting it at its highest point, and securing it. That's the aerial play of the game.
Junior out of Memphis. Sean Williams, it's Navy defense. Very good today. Joe Reed will get about 6 on 1st down, but the total offense for Virginia is startling. I mean, they're just now up over 140 total yards. They've got 11 yards rushing on the day.
Yeah,
after that 6-yard run by Reed.
Yeah, I think when you look at right now, I'm thinking about the weather, because I see the Virginia players tiptoeing around a little bit. Don't want to get hit. I look at Navy's players, and they've been just way more physical. Look at just look how many players around the football.
Ellis had no chance there. Yeah, you see Navy with more touchdowns than Virginia has first downs. It could be a season low today for the Cavaliers, so they can pick it up for total yards. Virginia Tech was another defense that really handled the Cavs.
Right.
They couldn't get any traction on offense. 191 total yards in that game, and it's been a repeat here in the bowl game for Virginia. Look at the time of possession. And another big hit by the Navy D. Nizer Cromartie, the sophomore from Greensboro, North Carolina, with a crunching blow, the 5th tackle for loss for the midshipmen today.
There he is, rocking the baby good night. That's what that one is. He cradles the baby, telling him good night. And he's been a menace the entire game. He's been beating him on the inside move, and that's why he continues to rip through and make the play. He's beat this. I think it's been whatever offensive line they put in there, whether it's Feeler or not, he's been able to get in front of him, make a play.
Maybe he'll have it at the 36. Nizer Cromartie, Jackson Pittman, Tyler Sales, that defensive front for the Middies. It's been like this all afternoon here in Annapolis.
The Military Bowl is presented by Northrop Grumman and in part by PlayStation Vue. Watch the biggest moments in sports. Try it free today.
See the Cavaliers players writing cards, Christmas cards and such to the military at the help of the USO this week. Thanks to all the veterans, all the people actively serving in the military. It's part of what this bowl game is about, to celebrate the military. It's been all Navy today, 49-7. Garrett Lewis has come on to run the offense now for the midshipmen. 3rd string quarterback. Very good passing quarterback as it happens. But he'll hand off to Chris High. Good gain again on 1st down. New Year's Day, we got you covered on ESPN. The playoff semifinals, number 2 Oklahoma, number 3 Georgia. The Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual. It starts at 5. Then it's Clemson and Alabama, All-State Sugar Bowl from the Superdome. Both games also streaming live on the app. Alabama-Clemson, the 3rd year in a row, Kirk. And I can't wait.
I can't wait.
Fun.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that first one, that Rose Bowl. How do these 2 coaches handle being in the playoff for the first time as head coaches? You know, Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma, Kirby Smart at Georgia. How do they handle this week? That's going to be, to me, that's going to be fun to watch that game. And we know about Clemson, Alabama, 3 years in a row in the playoff, twice in the championship game, and now in a playoff. It's going to be a matchup I can't wait to watch.
You know, a lot of people thought after Deshaun Watson left that Clemson would have no chance to compete in the ACC, let alone get into the college football playoff picture again. But Dabo Swinney has done a great job with that group.
He's done a great job. And if you look at the quarterback, Kelly Bryant, and the one game that he was out, they lost against Syracuse. He comes back, and this team really has played well, especially defensively, too. We know it's going to be a defensive type of game.
Garrett Lewis with his first big play since coming into the game. That's a run of 21 yards.
You see Jalen Hurts, too, as well, going back to that semifinal game between Clemson and Alabama. You know, what do you have different? What do you can do that's different? We've seen it 2 years in a row, but what's going to be different about this game? That's the one thing I want to see. How does the Alabama offense look this time? You know, no Sarkisian, no Kiffin now as offensive coordinator, Brian Daboll. We'll see what he has dialed up for that defense under Venables of Clemson.
I've liked Alabama since the beginning of the season. That's my pick. Who do you like to win the national championship this year?
Well, I think right now, I think we're looking at an SEC championship again. I really believe that. I think Georgia and that defense against Baker Mayfield. Well, I don't know if that magic can hold up with what I think Georgia will present to them. But I think in a championship game, you got to really look at an Alabama-Georgia game. We didn't get a chance to see it in the regular season or the conference championship game, but I think we get that matchup which we kind of thought we were going to see in the SEC championship, but we didn't get.
SEC fans would be salivating over that
Oh, yeah.
opportunity. And then for the national championship to be in Atlanta and have 2 SEC teams in it, unbelievable, if that's the case.
Is it what, teacher versus pupil? Would that be?
Yep, that'd be the case.
Saban.
Nelson Smith on that carry, so we got a 3rd down coming up here for Navy.
Saban versus Smart, if that did happen. But, you know, it's still a lot of time left before that happens. But that matchup, Oklahoma-Georgia, that's going to be a fun one.
That's going to be a great
fun.
New Year's.
The Rose Bowl in Pasadena, then the Sugar Bowl right after. We still got a bunch more bowl games before that. We were talking earlier about the Ohio State and USC matchup coming up tomorrow.
Cotton Bowl Classic tomorrow.
Yeah, that's
Jerry
the one.
Will.
That's
that
gonna be
is a great matchup. Couple of teams that hoped to be in the playoff and they missed out this year, but winning the Cotton Bowl is a pretty good consolation prize if they can get it done. Garrett Lewis will move the chains here, keep that clock moving. And we've got 2 more bowl games coming up today. You know, Virginia fans, we said it before, you know, it hasn't worked out for your team today, but you can always keep the TV on here on ESPN and do the root against the Hokies. That should be a good one. Virginia Tech and Oklahoma State coming up at 5:15 Eastern in the Camping World Bowl.
Yeah, another NFL caliber type of quarterback, Mason Rudolph. We'll see him again as well. I know a lot of NFL evaluators will be looking at him and seeing where he fits or where he projects on the next level. I think he's an NFL type of talent. One last opportunity on the college stage to show what he can do.
Garrett Lewis get about 6 or 7 on that carry. Garrett Lewis orchestrated that game-winning drive against SMU after Malcolm Perry got hurt. And Lewis started the Notre Dame game the next week. So this is a guy that's got some experience. He'll be in that conversation next year to get snaps at quarterback. It's going to be a clogged position with Perry, AB, and this guy, Garrett Lewis.
Yeah, 2 seniors and a junior. The seniors will be Lewis and AB, and we know the junior will be Malcolm Perry. So it's going to be a competition. And I think the competition has already started. It started in this game. I think we're looking at the 2018 Navy midshipmen and what this team can kind of look forward to next year. You got 3 capable guys, and they all bring something different to the table. I think we've talked about Perry and how explosive he is and how he can take it the distance with every run. The patience of AB, like we've seen today, 5 total touchdowns, and then you bring in Lewis, who, you know, on the year, 43% passing, but he's thrown a couple touchdown passes. So he's shown that he's got the arm, but I think he lacks a little bit in the running game, but I think that's what you get when you throw in Garrett Lewis.
Yeah, they consider him their best passing quarterback. Trying to convert here on 3rd down and 2. And it is Lewis keeping, and he's got the 1st down. I said it before, I didn't really get into the story before Malcolm Perry got hurt, but Ken Niumatalolo was a candidate to replace Bronco Mendenhall at BYU a couple of years ago. In fact, Bronco recommended him for the job. The job eventually went to Kalani Sitake. Ken is very happy how it worked out. He ended up staying here in Annapolis and very proud of the work he has done here over the last decade. Meanwhile, you know, Bronco, things haven't gone Virginia's way today, but it's pretty obvious in year 2 that he's got this program steered in the right direction.
Yeah, I think they're going in the right direction. And, you know, the one thing that I was, you know, interested in doing my research, getting ready for this game, and Bronco Mendenhall, how did he get the name, you know, sort of Bronco? And he got the name Bronco from his dad, who they grew up training horses. And when you train horses, you got to be able to find ways to break a horse in a little bit. And when you break a horse in, it's in the beginning, horses are reluctant at first. And that's what I think Coach Mendenhall has done here in Virginia. In 2 short years, have been able to turn this thing around fairly quickly.
Zach Adey, our Capital One player of the game, the 5 big touchdown runs. Didn't even start the game at quarterback. Took over in the situation after Malcolm Perry got hurt. And we're down to 2 minutes to go.
You kind of fast forward now, you're looking at Navy, you look at Virginia, both these teams, what does it look like for next year? And for Virginia, like you mentioned with Coach Bronco Mendenhall, I think they've got a couple quarterbacks, so they're in a quarterback competition as well come next year. Who's going to be their starter? They got a couple guys they signed in recruiting, junior college transfer, high school kid coming in. So you may see a different look on the Virginia side, but I think the way that Navy's finishing this game right now, you got to have a lot of promise, I think, going into next season, that this is one of those teams that will continue to get better.
Navy go to 7-6, and we talked about it before. It's a big difference going 7-6 on the year,
right,
finishing with a winning record, as opposed to 6-7, which Virginia is going to finish with. And just good taste in your mouth going into the offseason. And neither of these teams beat their rivals this year. Virginia losing to Virginia Tech for the 14th straight year. Navy losing to Army for the 2nd straight year. But Navy's going to win a bowl game, and that carries a lot through the offseason. Timeout, Navy. 44 seconds to go. We'll wrap it up when we come back. Tune in to ESPN3 for the postgame trophy ceremony presented by Capital One following the game. Ken Niumatalolo giving Bennett Mooring, the junior from Bentonville, Arkansas, a chance to end the season with a field goal make from 36 yards. No. Kind of feel for that young man. Heartbreak in the Army-Navy game. Didn't make that one here, but it's all Navy. 39 seconds to go. Back in a moment. 49-7 final seconds here at the Military Bowl in Annapolis, presented by Northrop Grumman. The Virginia offense getting a nice run from Jordan Ellis. Too few of those today for the Cavs. Tonight at 12:30 a.m. Eastern after the Alamo Bowl. Tune into SportsCenter with Scott Van Pelt. He's going to break down Bryce Love's big season after what could be his final game at Stanford. Celtics, Rockets, both title contenders, and a special look back at the best oh no moments of the year, including that ill-timed stop by the Atlanta bus when they were shooting the Georgia Dome implosion. Speaking of implosions, this offense for the Cavaliers, incomplete again. 163 yards of offense today. It's going to be a new season low for the Cavaliers. Ken Niumatalolo, his offense 452 yards. Zach Abey was terrific, 5 touchdowns. The starter Malcolm Perry was very good before getting hurt.
But you can see which team had more experience playing in a bowl game. I think Virginia, great season for them to get to a bowl game, but definitely Navy showed they had much more experience in playing in one.
Final play of the game, Joe Reed, who started the game with that electrifying 98-yard kickoff return, was the only offense for Virginia. But there is a penalty flag down. And if it's against the defense,
downfield offense, that penalty is declined.
Doesn't matter. Offensive penalty, and that's the final. 49-7. Navy was terrific today. They finished with a winning record, 7-6 on the year. The future is bright, especially at the quarterback position, Kirk.
Yeah, well, now you've got 3 different guys that you can kind of roll out there, but the top 2, Zach Abey, what a game. You mentioned the 5 touchdowns, and Malcolm Perry, he did his part to start the game. And this was the first game of 2018. I think you can put a bow on 2017, but the future is definitely bright for Navy and Coach Ken Niumatalolo.
4th bowl win in the last 5 years for the midshipmen. Meanwhile, Virginia back in the postseason for the first time since 2011. Completely outplayed. And we said it before, we talked about the weather conditions. Can't help but feel that the team that was better prepared to play in these cold conditions won it and dominated, and that was Navy. Let's go down to Alex.
Thank you, Clay. Zach, what can you say about this win for Navy coming in such decisive fashion.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great team win. Something we needed for a while. We've been, we haven't won in a while. So, and coming off the Army game, our spirits were low. So it was a great thing to have a big win like this.
This offense was clicking on all cylinders today. What allowed you to be so effective?
We were just all on the same page. We knew the assignments we had to do. O-line blocked great. Everyone blocked great. We just executed it, and that's the big thing.
And in what ways can a win like this get the mojo, propel things going into next season?
I mean, it's huge for going into the offseason. Going in a win like this against a great opponent in the ACC, it's huge for all season. So, we're going to hold our heads up high.
Zach, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Clay.
Despite completing 0 passes today, Navy was 0 for 1. But the quarterbacks were still the overriding story. Great quarterback play from Navy as they win it convincingly, 49-7 over Virginia in the Military Bowl presented by Northrop Grumman. Happy New Year, everybody. We hope you enjoyed the game here today. For Kirk Morrison, Alex Cordery, and our entire crew, I'm Clay Matvick. Navy, big winners. Now the postgame ceremony on ESPN3. We send you to the college football scoreboard with Adnan.